This is the Minor League Hockey Report Podcast.
This is Minor League Hockey Report Podcast number 31, being recorded on Wednesday, August 6th, 2014. I'm Matthew Harding, joined by Zach Corder and Jason Chauvy. They'll be along here in just a couple of moments. Our podcast this time is sponsored by our good friends at Superior Signs and Engraving. Give our friend Adam Stiles a call at 316-263-4264 or visit them online at superiorsigns.biz. Also, thanks to our friends at chlforums.com. They've undergone a major site renovation here recently, so if you have an account there, please go back and renew it and join in with all the hockey talk there with other rabid CHL fans. That is at chlforums.com. The gang is all back together after Zach and I have been in Arizona for a little while. Zach, Jason, how you guys doing? Before we get going here, though,
never mind.
Hang on here. No, come on, grab them.
Watch your eye.
There you go. Is it like a Gallagher show over there when we open the energy drinks?
Well, when Jason can't control his, yes. And then I catch it in the eye. And it stings a little bit, and then my feelings are hurt for a couple days.
But
Yeah.
you still like it. You feel it's refreshing. You know you do.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Enough silly nonsense, just like this off season.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Zach, Jason, how you guys doing this evening?
Good. Really good. I mean, best day of my life. It's been great.
Get your sarcasm out of here. It's all right for a Wednesday. We're finally going towards the weekend on the downslope. And what are we doing Friday, Zach?
We're gonna move. We gotta talk about that, but we're gonna go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yay!
Hey, there you go.
Because I'm pretty excited about that.
Yay!
Hey, awesome.
So, but we do have to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm working.
Cool. Want to go?
If it's after 11, sure. I doubt it will be.
Nope. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I guess I...
What do you work Saturday?
Till 11.
Connor's in the corner.
Connor's with us this evening.
That's what we need to have. We need to have a segment called Connor's Corner.
You know, we need to have a segment for when, after he moves to Minnesota, by the way. Our friend and, I guess, colleague, sure, whatever. Our Reddit correspondent is moving to Minnesota on August the 19th, and we like to wish him the best while he moves up there. So,
Absolutely.
I will
Here's
miss
the best,
you,
Connor.
big burly bear, you.
All the best, buddy.
But hey, we need to have a segment like Jay and Dan. He can call in like the Taggart segment.
That would be amazing.
That would be pretty awesome.
That would be.
Just kidding, it's not going to happen.
Connor, are you able to have a 10-minute phone call without a dip in your mouth? A dip. Dip. Maybe?
With a P and a D.
We're all back together again. Like I said, it's been a while since we've all sat down and done a podcast. We hope that you enjoyed our coverage from Arizona and the CHL summer meetings from Chandler, Arizona. Shawway, unfortunately, was not able to make it. We're going to try for him to be with us next year out there.
Hey, 2 Vegas trips are very important to save up for.
That's
Just
true.
saying.
That's true. By the way, boys, the countdown clock for Vegas is at T-minus 56 days.
Yeah!
Get
Okay,
excited.
well, okay, yes, for that trip. Mine sooner in September.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's
But hell yeah, we're going to Vegas too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Get excited.
Woo! Booze and ramen noodles.
And baloney.
What kind of bologna?
OSCAR.
Oh, okay. Bologna and wieners, I like it.
There you go. Zach, let's get into our podcast, and we'll start with mine and Zach's trip to
Is that what we're doing?
Arizona and covering the CHL summer meetings. Zach, just wanted to get your thoughts overall on the experience that you had while we were out there.
I had a great time. The hardest part about it was the preparation for getting out there and what we were going to do, and basically what we were going to do throughout the whole week without ever being there before. We've never covered a CHL event like that other than our first finals 2 years ago. And so for us to kind of walk into it blindly, but it was a great experience. It's something that I'll never forget. I can't go without thanking Bob Hoffman from the Central Hockey League just for getting us out there, his approval basically and thumbs up to get us out there, and then not only to help us get there, but then to set up a great media center and basically make it known all throughout the week that we were there. They weren't shy about letting the other delegates know that there was a member of the media there and introducing us to everybody. We met a lot of great people from all the organizations throughout the Central Hockey League. So our thanks to Bob and everybody. I mean, all the Arizona contingent that was there that kind of knew the area and helped us out. Miranda and Denver, everybody that we met, all the Brampton people, that was awesome to get to talk to them because we never really gotten a chance to interact with them before. So overall, it was a great week. The podcast went off without a hitch. We had some great guests, some great insight about what the future to come with the Central Hockey League, and I know that's going to be a trip that I'm going to mark down on the calendar every year. Looking forward to doing from here on out.
Yeah, I agree. It was 3 things that I'll take away from it, but I'll take the whole week away. Obviously, I'm a geek for road signs, and in the car, I was taking pictures of road signs that pointed toward Los Angeles. I'm an absolute dweeb for road signs.
Well, and I'd never been as far west as Denver, so
right.
That's the furthest west I've ever been. So that was a cool geographical experience for me as well.
Yeah, and the other thing, it's hot in Arizona. I don't, it's 95 degrees here on Wednesday night, and it feels like 99 or 100 out there. 1:15, and it feels like you just walked into a hairdryer.
Well, we went shopping. What was it, Tuesday morning or Monday morning? But
Monday
it was
morning.
10 a.m. We got to the shopping center, and by 10 a.m. it was already 102.
Yep.
My underwear were not pleased with me that day.
Neither were mine.
I'll just say that. But beautiful area out there. That was
Yes.
Some of the most beautiful terrain and areas that I've seen. Granted, there's not a lot to look at in Kansas other than our sunsets, but in clouds and grass and wheat. But awesome to be out there. The great hotel that everybody was in. Everybody at the hotel was top notch. It was a great experience all around.
Yeah, it really was. And one of the other things I'll take away from it is the social gatherings that we had. A lot of elbow rubbing and a lot of opportunity for you and I to get out there and make these contacts with people across the league. We'd never met Jim Wiley.
Great guy.
Awesome
guy.
And Mr. Wiley came up to us and was just started breaking down rules and everything like that. And it was a great 20-minute conversation right after you and I had a beer. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, it's always great when you can sit down with people and talk to them outside of their title.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk to them as people and get to know them, and just sitting down with Jim and getting to BS with him, honestly, about hockey, which I think on the drive home is when I told you that if I could have an hour just to sit down and chat with anybody from the weekend, honestly, it probably would have been Jim Wiley.
Yeah.
Because of just how much knowledge and depth in the game that he has, and he's been around it for so long that it was really cool to just let him talk. And he loves doing it. He's a self-admitted, he loves talking. So that was a great time. And one person real quick that I do want to thank again is Rob Labor from the Tulsa Oilers.
Absolutely.
Rob was available for us basically 24/7 throughout the week through text message, or he sat with us throughout the entire podcast and filled in through little gaps that we had. But Rob has been a very great resource for us, and we hope that we've done the same for him. But Rob was awesome during our trip down there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brent Thiessen as well,
Yeah.
and Coach Steve Martinson, and as you mentioned, Bob Hoffman and Jim Wiley.
We got pictures with Richard Matvichuk.
We do.
You got a picture with a Stanley Cup winner, but I take it away as I got a picture with a New Jersey Devil. So,
well, there you go. And I got a picture with the championship ring from the two-time.
Yeah, our thanks to
CHL
Tommy.
champion.
Yes. How fun was Tommy Daniels?
No kidding.
How fun! Now we won't go into details because we don't want to embarrass anybody.
No.
But how fun of a guy is Tommy Daniels?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And he takes a great joke because we gave him a little heckling about his call being the two-time Central Hockey League champions. But he's a great sport, great person. We met a lot of good people.
Yeah, we did.
We really did.
The one person we missed, Mark Benetti.
Yeah, Mark, I will make you listen to this podcast. And
womp womp.
We had a couple text conversations, which may or may not have been after midnight. We had a phone call on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
If you're not at those meetings next year, you're not planning on being there. I told you I will drive from Wichita to Rapid City and then fly from Rapid out to Phoenix just to get you out there. So,
yes.
But Mark Benetti was missed, as well as Madeline from Missouri. So those were the only two teams that didn't have their media reps there. But Missouri took home some awards, though, didn't they? Good grief. Did. And then Mark took home an award, and he wasn't even there to get it.
No kidding.
Come on, Mark.
Yeah. You got to get there next year, buddy.
Mark, like your grandma would say, what's the matter you, huh? What's the matter you?
Yeah.
But Mark is gracious in inviting us up to Rapid City. We got invites to go everywhere.
I can't wait for that trip to Rapid.
Yeah, I've been to Rapid, and it's a blast. Oof, man, there's some fun things to do up there. But,
yeah, that's going to be a fun trip.
No, but in all seriousness, for anybody from the teams that listen to our podcast, and even the fan base, know how hard that your front office works.
Yes.
Because Matt and I talked about this. Matt gave his 3 things he took away, but the thing that he and I agreed on that none of us saw coming into this was the fact that the front office people that you deal with every single day on the telephones to get your tickets or your reps or whatever, if you're a sponsor and the people you go through to buy your sponsorship, whatever it may be, they work their asses off. And they do more jobs than you could even imagine. And it's very unknown how much they do within the offices. And it was interesting in one of our meetings to hear a question that was posed about what do you do on an everyday basis. And I won't go into any details or names because I don't want to, embarrass anybody. But the list of things that people do outside of what their job title says is every single person in that room. Yes. And so it's a thankless job almost because there's work behind the scenes that you don't see, and it was humbling to see how much your front offices are working for you on a daily basis, and that includes your radio guys. Mm-hmm. That includes the guys that you think maybe just set up the radio stuff and maybe do a couple promo spots, but they're selling, they're out there doing business lunches and everything else, and it was very cool to see in a humble way. How hard the front offices of your teams are working to make the product that you get to see and hear and watch on a nightly basis the best it can be.
Yes, you're very, very well said on that point. And yeah, the one thing that I took away from that meeting was if you bring a dog to work with you, that dog better be selling.
Yeah.
Everybody sells in that office.
That dog better grow thumbs and learn to work a phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Sell, because that is the modus operandi of how minor league hockey and, in fact, minor league sports now runs, because you just don't have owners who have buku bunches of money just sitting around who can take that hit.
Well, and even if they do have money, which there are teams that are, we know that Missouri's making money. We know that, Allen and Tulsa and Wichita are under the Stephen ownership group. There's teams that have, quote unquote, money, but not the type of money to fund a full front office.
No.
And to give everybody their own individual title, and they stick to that title. And I want to call out the radio guys in a positive way here, because you may look at the What Team's website and it says Director of Media Operations or, play-by-play guy, whatever it may say on your title. But every single one of those radio guys are selling. Mm-hmm. Every single one of those guys go out and they do business lunches for sponsorship deals. They are out and about doing way more than just the PR work. And ladies, too. I'm sorry. But everybody that's involved with the media side of it is doing way more than just the media and the PR work. Mm-hmm. And it's, like I said, it was very humbling to see, because you and I and Jason can sit here and we write our articles and we do our podcasts, and that's that. Mm-hmm. These guys get to do the fun part of the writing and the audio work and the play-by-play, but then Monday through Friday, they're working their bags off selling tickets and, you know, doing everything the ticket reps inside the offices are doing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
props to all them, you know, kudos to everybody that, you know, some of those teams have a very small crew and they do the job of 12, 20 people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Very well said on your part. And I just
Thank you.
I just want to go back to what you were saying a few minutes ago as to how well received we were. Anytime we needed an interview with Commissioner Ryan, Jim Wiley, Bob Hoffman, Brent
And the individual
Eason,
teams. I mean, everybody
anybody.
from all the individual teams were unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I hope on our behalf that this is something that we can continue to do for years to come, and we'll continue to be better at it. And you know, next year will be a lot more play as we go,
Yeah.
kind of a deal. I promise.
Yeah.
I really promise, because I was an absolute stickler on Monday, and then got sick on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the car ride home on Thursday was just not fun. So I promise it'll be a lot better next year because we're flying.
Yeah.
For starters.
Yeah. And to give an example of how nice everybody was, I won't throw out any names, but we got into an elevator with a coach. And it was after the awards dinner and banquet. Everybody was tired. It had been a long day. You know, the ties were undone by this point. And, you know, just jokingly, you threw out the question of, hey, when can we get an interview? And the answer that we got was, anytime you want, boys. Anytime. Here, take down my number.
Yep.
So just that, but that was how we were received by everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody possible that we wanted to get into contact with or get anything from, they did it. It was great. Had a blast. Food was good at that 24/7.
Absolutely.
Man, that mac and cheese was killer.
That fat burger too was off the hook, man. That was good
my
stuff.
sandwich though in the casino that had the mosquito on it. Now that was
good.
a tasty. So quick story. We'll get out of the sappy side of this. We got in on Sunday night after a 16-plus hour drive. I darn near made Matt and Shay, his lovely wife Shaylin, poop themselves coming into Phoenix because they had a road that played like Need for Speed. And
Yeah.
so we'd been in the car all day, you know, munching off of snacks and stuff. So we were ready to get a good meal and, you know, kind of unwind. And I got this killer Italian sandwich they had a food court in the casino. Matt decided to get Fat Burger, which apparently I should have done too. And I got this great Italian sandwich. I ate the first half of it. I just crush it. And then I go to pick up the second half, and it's got a dead mosquito on the sandwich. Protein. So I chose to not eat the second half. Now, while some of you may say, well, couldn't you have just, you know, ate around that piece or whatever?
No.
I don't know what mosquitoes carry, and I personally don't really like them, so I just chose not to eat it.
Yeah.
But
Well, maybe quit being such a wuss and just eat it. Do you know how many people probably touch that sandwich and the contents of that sandwich?
So what you're saying is that Zach's sandwich may have been contaminated by somebody who had a
and
dead
look, he's
mosquito
still,
on their finger.
And he's still
you
here.
know why people in Africa die because of mosquitoes?
We're not in Africa.
Well, okay.
There you go. So you could have ate this mosquito. Congratulations.
No.
Good job.
No.
Yep.
No, I wouldn't have. I'm a big boy, and I wouldn't have
You
eaten that.
couldn't have paid me
No.
enough money to eat that sandwich.
No.
No, not happening.
Not
Sorry.
at all.
And then I asked for barbecue chips, and I got honey barbecue after being told after a lengthy conversation on our 16-hour drive about how I don't like sweet food with regular food. So
Yeah.
I know I'm weird, but
No.
there's nothing. You sweet things don't mix with regular food. Now, sweet things need to be desserts
That's right.
or certain breakfast items.
That's right.
So, but anyway, overall, a great trip. I want to thank your wife.
Yes.
Because in not being rude,
No.
but you just mentioned it was a little tense couple days. You weren't feeling well. We had never been there before. Mm-hmm. It was just we weren't sure what to expect.
Right.
And your wife was, again, as always, the rock that held everything together.
She wasn't she?
She brought people in for interviews. I mean, she dropped names. She dropped business cards. She pulled people into conversations that she helped us get the picture with Richard Matvichuk. I mean,
Shaylin was money.
Yeah, so thanks to Shaylin Harding for going along. And, yeah, as Jason said, certified badass.
Yes. Operations director.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've even heard this story.
No, probably
So-
not.
I don't know who we were introducing ourselves to, but it was the first night, and
Gosh,
Matt.
I think it was. I think we had just met Tommy. I don't know.
And so Matt was introducing everybody, and he'd introduce Shaylin to everybody and this is my wife, Shaylin.
Yeah.
This is my wife, Shaylin. And out of nowhere, I hear, this is our director of operations, Shaylin. What? Did you just make a new job title for our business?
Yeah.
Apparently so. So if you see it on our website anytime soon, the director of operations is going to be Shaylin Harding.
That's right.
So I have to sleep with you to get a higher stance in the website? I mean, because
Sure.
I'll do it.
No, you won't. Neither will I.
Oh, I was going to say, don't prove me wrong.
You can do it, and then I'll...
No. There's more than enough man to share. It's
Are you talking about me? Because yes, they are.
This is getting
both,
weird.
both wife and you, so we're good. Just saying.
So anyway,
This got really weird fast. So
and this has been episode 31 of the Minor League Hockey Report podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll never do one again.
no, that's right. Huge success out there, and next year will be different. We will. Man, Monday night was so fun. I will never forget the Snapchat that you and Jason Miles did. And you guys were kind of
Okay,
inebriated.
I'll admit for myself, and no one else in any other contingency,
I was pretty trashed.
that I was pretty drunk on Monday night at a bar, and whether or not anyone else was consuming alcohol, that's not for me to say.
No,
But we got a couple good Snapchats out to.
Mark.
We got one to Mark, and then Jason Miles and I though took one of his famous or infamous, however you want to say it, big save call. Yeah, so my thanks to Jason for being a good sport about that and helping me out. So
Yeah.
I did fall. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. So we were going
Got
up
off
to
the elevator, going back to our room at about 11:30 Pacific Standard Time, which would have been about 1:30.
closing time.
Yeah, closing time, and I wanted to run around the corner in my new Chuck Taylors, and whoops, whoopsie-daisy.
There was a trash can that jumped out and bit him.
Yeah, and that trash can helped me stand back up.
That's right.
And then we were up at 7:30 the next morning.
Duh.
Well, you guys were up at 5:30.
Shaylin was up at 5. The director of operations was up at 5, which was way too early. She couldn't ever get adjusted to the time.
Yeah,
So
I could.
I could too.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm fine with whatever time zone it is. I don't know why it is. I know
See,
a lot of people get jet lag. I don't.
I went ahead and set my watches and stuff 2 hours back, like the day or two before. So I was already on Pacific Standard Time before we got out there.
Gotcha.
So
And everybody knows how lazy I am, so I sleep whenever. I took a nap whenever I could, including
Noon is noon to you.
including that Tuesday morning meeting. But that first meeting Tuesday was a little rough. I'll not even gonna say.
yeah, it was. Well, thank God for the breakfast. That was the only thing that kept me going on Tuesday morning.
But we're excited to say we have several new. We'll have several new announcements and things coming up. Hopefully in the next couple months that will improve not only our site but the viewing experience of the site for you all. And we got a lot out of the meetings, and hopefully we were able to make contacts that will use us to better enhance the information and news that we give you all on a daily basis. So. Great time again. Thanks to Bob Hoffman, Jim Wiley, Commissioner Steve Ryan, everybody with all the organizations, Rob Labor, Jason Miles, Steve Martinson, all of our guests. It was a great time, and we'll do it again next year.
Absolutely. And just a real quick thanks to Rich Lohman in Tulsa and Barry Jansen and Allen, who hooked us up with both Coach Steve Martinson and Rob Labor out there. So that was good on them.
Yeah, thanks for Barry and Rich for running the site while we were gone. A couple of announcements were made, so they got those up and going. So Big thing. Big thanks to everybody. Yeah, you didn't do much. So.
I was waiting. I was honestly waiting for someone to say something.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Don't worry about it.
You should.
All right. Well, the one thing that did come out of the summer meetings was a new rules package for this year. Included is 3-on-3 overtime, some new rules for fighting, and there are some other rules and salary cap and vet rule and things like that that have to be negotiated with the PHPA. But the two things that did not need to be negotiated with the PHPA were the 3-on-3 overtime rule and the fighting rules. Want to get your guys' opinion first on the 3-on-3 overtime rule.
I'm really excited about it because you take any of your three, like think about it for Denver's standpoint. You put AJ Gale, Troy Schwab, and Garrett Bembridge out for the your overtime, or you take your three fastest skaters, and like I when we were talking to Jim Wiley about it, you think about it from a Wichita standpoint. You put now Alex Bray, maybe RG Flath, and then Andrew Martins, who is a very fast but good puck moving defenseman out there. And Connor and I were having this conversation the other night. You have a bad bounce and somebody's getting scored on because it's going to be a 3-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, puck comes off the boards the wrong way, a bad turnover, whatever it may be, and next thing you know, going the other way. And it's going to be great for the fans. It's going to be fun. Now, from a league standpoint, and then I'll turn it over to Jason so I don't talk too long, but from a league standpoint, they're wanting more decisive victories rather than going to a shootout. Now, the shootout's fun for all the fans, but it gives teams a better chance to win it in quote-unquote regulation or overtime. To decide the game rather than it be done in a shootout. Now, the fun thing about it is you have this awesome 5-minute overtime period, and then you go to the shootout. So it's almost a win-win because if you don't have a deciding score, then you still get to go in and see the shootout as a fan. So I think it's awesome.
I think it will benefit both the league and the fans, if you ask me. Like you said, it will have the teams actually decide the game rather than usually going into a shootout and having one-on-one kind of breakaway talent show between the goalie and the opposing player. But I'm excited to see how it will turn out because it will be kind of like a pond hockey kind of thing with how much ice is going to be out there. With 4-on-4, there's plenty of ice, but with 3-on-3, just think of all the different kinds of strategies teams will be thinking of. Do you put, 2 forwards, 1D, 3 forwards, 2D, 1 forward? How will people adjust to each other is going to be interesting to see in itself rather than just the play on the ice during the overtime period. So it's going to be fun to watch. Now, the penalties somewhat stay the same. They're going to be, if there's a penalty call, it's going to be 4-on-3. If there's a penalty called on the same team, it's going to be a 5-on-3. And the 1-minute penalty time, is that correct? So was that different than last year, or was it 2 minutes, or was it still 1 minute?
No, it was 1 minute.
Okay,
it was still 1 minute.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but other than that, I'm really excited to see this kind of wide open style that this could turn out to be. And like you said, a bad bounce here and there, or just a terrific pass out of the zone. You could see a 2-on-1 or even a 3-on-1. And you could potentially see, maybe a breakaway or two as well. So it's going to be fun for the fans. It's going to be very exciting to see this upcoming season.
Yeah, you think about a team on the offensive, down in the offensive zone, maybe trying to cycle the puck in the corner while a D-man stays up top. Bad bounce goes the other way. You could have a 2-on-none break. Yeah. It's just the possibilities for the fast-moving play are endless.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it'll be a lot of fun to see. You'll have more decisive victories, and like you said, that pond hockey kind of arcade style hockey look that'll have is going to be fun.
Another thing is, do you think this will potentially make will decide games in overtime quicker, like within the first 2.5 minutes, or do you think it's going to potentially go the full 5?
I think it will.
Okay. Because that's another probably issue people have.
I think it will. But
was trying to get the overtime over quicker.
Yeah, here's the thing I would have liked to seen the league do. Yeah. If you're gonna have that pond hockey, then let's do a clean scrape of the ice.
Yeah.
Let's take a 7-minute break, rest those 3 or 4 forwards up, rest those high caliber players up, give the Zambonis a chance to come out and give a clean scrape of the ice. No new ice surface, just a clean scrape, and away we go for the overtime. But I understand why they didn't here, because this is essentially a continuation of regulation play.
Yeah, and I'll take the opposite on that side of it. If you scrape the ice, or if you give those guys that break, it takes away from the idea that a bad bounce could end the game. And if
right.
And the idea is just like with double, triple overtime games, the idea is for somebody to capitalize on a mistake in the game. And that's, I think, the thinking there. And I can see where it would benefit the league in some teams, the winning team, to get that good bounce. If the puck hops over a player's stick because of the ice, and the next thing you know it's going the opposite way, that's up to the other team to really end it. So I can see that.
Another thing that's been brought up about this overtime is that starting the overtime period like it's the second period where it's a long change. So I don't think that was part of the rules. So I think it's going to be the standard like first and third period that you start on your side of your bench.
Right.
But I think the issue that's been brought up with that is there's more scoring in the second period because of the long changes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll implement that in the next year or so. But I'm fine with overtime rule changes, and I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, I am too. Should be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's get into the second part of the new rules package, and that is a look at the fighting, which has changed a little bit this year. The CHL has adopted a rule that says that a player can have 2 fights. If the player is instigated into their second fight, they are allowed a third. And then 3 fights equal a game misconduct. 2 fights, obviously, would also equal a game misconduct. What are your guys' thoughts on the rule as it's written in the CHL right now?
I think it's good because it still keeps some sort of professionalism about the league without letting it get out of hand. You look at some of the box scores in leagues like the FHL and even a couple of the SPHL box scores where they just get way out of hand with the fighting majors. It still lets people cut down on the amount that guys can kind of go crazy there. It limits the amount of majors that a player can have. And it still officiates and kind of polices the game. So I think it's good. You're still going to see fights. You're still going to see guys have, a good tilt, center ice. It's not going to be the same guy 3 or 4 times in a game.
I think one of the rules or reasons why this rule is implemented is because they want to take away stage fighting more than anything. They want the fights. I think they want the fights to actually mean something, and not just like off the face off. Hey, do you want to go? Sure, why not? Just for the hell of it. So the fans love to see that stuff, but does it really have any impact on the game? Not really. We all know why there's fighting in the game. We don't need to really go into that again, but it's just essentially just cutting down on fighting, and it looks like it's kind of on its way towards getting fighting out of the game, unfortunately. But this isn't the 70s anymore. We won't see 5-6 fights a game. So, or hell, even in the early 90s with the CHL, with the 5 fights in that game. So, but I'm not upset about this rule, if you ask me. You don't really see a lot of guys getting into that third fight anymore. So,
no, you really don't. And I would actually venture to guess that is the way that rule will be for a while.
Yeah.
Across the CHL, and I would expect to see it adopted in other leagues going forward. The same way with the 3-on-3 overtime rule. It's kind of innovative.
Why not try it?
And yeah, anything to keep the fan, and it cuts down fighting just enough to keep fans interested in the game. You don't have a throwaway fight or anything like that. So definitely excited about the new fighting rule, and it'd be interesting to see how it plays out on the ice this year across the CHL.
So, do you think this is kind of a way of fighting getting out of the game?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
I think it's a way of making your fights count.
I agree with that, and I hope they keep. Obviously, I hope they keep fighting in the game, not just for a tradition, but for other reasons that we all know about. So
yeah,
but I think you're right. I think they're going to keep it. They're minimize the fights so they actually matter and count.
Right.
That's a good point.
make the fights mean something. If it's just going out there and gooning it up, then whatever. It's not. I think it's a way to take that out of the game, the gooning up in the last 5 minutes, which also leads me to say that if you do instigate a fight in the last 5 minutes, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you instigate a fight in the last 5 minutes of play, it is an automatic game misconduct.
Automatic game misconduct, and I believe you're automatically up for suspension.
Yes, that is it as well. So the league is working on several on-ice rule changes that still need to be bartered through the PHPA negotiations. But one of them is the trapezoid, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this. As we understand it, it sounds like the back of the trapezoid may be increasing but staying the same up front.
In the AHL right now, they're going through basically an exploratory process, and I believe in the NHL rules and development camp as well, where they instead of the front of the trapezoid, meaning the area of the trapezoid closest to the net, not closest to the wall, closest to the net, angles inward towards the net. They're talking about actually expanding that trapezoid outward to where it's more of a square rather than a trapezoid, or whatever rectangular form that is, but to where the goalie is now more defined as to what area he can play the puck, and there's not that awkward corner towards the goal line in which he's afraid to play the puck. Now, we had this conversation off podcast air in which Jason brought up the question,
why don't we just get rid of the trapezoid?
I'm in favor of getting rid of the trapezoid.
The reason they put the trapezoid in after the lockout, the other Gary Bettman lockout, was to help basically goalie safety. Goalies go out and play the puck way far out. Basically, they want to confine that area that the goalies play the puck.
Safety, and they want to limit the amount of times the goalie touches the puck, too.
Right.
In my personal opinion, it doesn't matter if it's because honestly, if you're confining him to a certain area, they all still try and play the puck. Marty Brodeur is one of the best at playing the puck, and sometimes it bites him. But you're not going to tell goalies not to play the puck because they always will. And so, if you take away the trapezoid, it gives them less area, in my opinion, to get hurt because now it's just confined to that one area behind the net, and guys circle behind that net so much, goalies get clipped and everything else. It just I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. I think that the league needs to, or at least hockey in general needs to do away with the trapezoid. If a goalie wants to come out there out of his blue paint, he should be a part of the play and be free to take a hit, move a puck, or cover it up. And if I would penalize the goalie if you are outside of your blue paint and you cover the puck up. It's a 2-minute delay of game penalty. Because now you're a part of the play. You're another player in the play.
You either have to expand the trapezoid, though, or you either have to expand the crease, which isn't going to happen, or you have to let the goalie play the puck.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. That's kind of the risk that they take to go and try and cover up the puck, is just getting to it outside of the crease area. So I mean, it's a risk either way, and sometimes it does bite goalies in the butt, and if that happens, they usually get scored on.
Yeah.
That's what happened to the Boston Red Wings series. Mm-hmm. Boston scored on Detroit. I think it was in Game 2.
Jimmy Howard was out of the net.
When he tried to play the puck, and it went basically straight to a goalie's or to a stick, and they buried it. So.
Yep. And there are other rules as well, like the vet rule, the salary cap, and rosters and things like that still have to be negotiated through the PHPA, and we will continue to keep you up to date on that. As soon as we hear anything about that, we will let you know. Want to talk about quickly the schedule or lack thereof. Here we are on the 6th of August and still no schedule out. However, there are some mitigating circumstances. The league is planning a big announcement soon that will about an event, and that's all we can say on that. So maybe that's holding it up. What's your guys' opinion as to, does it seem a little late for the schedule to be out? Everybody's been clamoring for it for a while. Just want to get your guys' take on it.
If it's not out within the next week or two, maybe. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe it's because there's 9 teams in the league and not 10, not a good even number. Maybe that's the reason why they're still trying to figure out what the best schedule is for the league to have this upcoming season. Other than that, I have no idea why it wouldn't be out already. But, I mean, like you said, there could be other circumstances that it's keeping it from being published or coming out right now.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it being out. When we talked to Bob Hoffman during the podcast, he gave a range of when the schedules have usually came out, and we're at the back end of that range, but we're still within that range. So, I mean,
Right.
I'm not concerned with it. It's going to happen. You're going to get a schedule at some point or another. Your road trips aren't going to get, taken away or not scheduled because the schedule's not out by a certain date, Tickets will still be there, I'm sure, unless you're in Missouri, then it's a hot ticket. But, I'm not too worried about it. It's just the same with player signings. Every team wants to know what their entire roster is the second week of the off season. It just doesn't happen. So, be patient. It'll happen.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about it.
That's right. If we're still having this conversation on Labor Day, then there's probably a problem. But until then, nothing to freak out about. As Bob said in our live podcast, we're at the back end of that window, but we're still in the window, so have faith. It'll be out soon. And when it does, you'll have it here at minorleaguehockeyreport.com. Let's move on, and we'll talk about some off-season signings. The Allen Americans have been busy with people coming and going from Allen. I want to focus on the exodus from Allen. Gone are defenseman Daniel Tatro, Jared Lukin, Gregor Hansen, goaltender Brian Pitton, forward Kale Karbashian, and more. How do you guys think that this will impact the team moving forward into next season? And, I mean, obviously Steve Martinson is loaded for bear on the back end with Aaron Jens, Kevin Young, the Ludwig brothers, just a very stout defense back there. Just tell me what you guys' initial thoughts are about the exodus from Allen.
Well, you're going to see a different team. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have a lot of returning players, which every team has that same kind of group every year. But Allen has almost had the same roster, give or take maybe 4 or 5 guys every year. The big losses are going to be Pitton and Kale Karbashian. Karbashian was a great leader on the ice for them, had been with them for a while, and Pitton was just solid. And Pitton won him a championship. So, you're going to have the Allen. We talked about this before. The Allen Americans are going to have a lot of moves, not only on the ice, but you lose your assistant coach and Richard Matvichuk, so you're going to have a different, probably looking penalty kill, and it'll be interesting to see though how Steve Martinson adapts to that, and the way that he coaches it. He'll have a very competitive team. It's just going to be a different looking team.
Yeah,
I think a big loss for them is going to be Bootlin because he's such a good agitator, but he also brings a lot of skill and toughness to that team. So I mean, he's not going to be the main missing piece or thing they're going to miss this offseason, but I think or this upcoming season. But I think him signing in the ECHL and several other players also going to the ECHL is going to. I don't think it will hurt them, but it will definitely change the makeup of that team. And one that caught me by surprise was Daniel Tatro signing in Rapid City. I thought he was going to retire.
Yeah, so, he was initially going to retire.
So I'm kind of curious to why he, quote unquote, unretired and signed in Rapid City.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just the lure of being back on the bus was too much for him. I'm not sure.
But then why wouldn't you just stay in Allen instead of driving all the way up to South Dakota? Not that there's anything wrong with that, Rapid City fans. Just saying, him and his wife had a shop and they had hockey camps down there. So it was just kind of a weird up and move to Rapid City. And
I'm with you. I was very intrigued to see that Daniel Tatro signed in Rapid City. That should be a huge addition for that Rush blue line back there for this upcoming season. Guy was absolutely automatic in the playoffs.
I mean, could you imagine, though, a blue line that involves Riley Weslowski and then Daniel Tatro on the other side? I mean, that's a tandem right there that just is unbelievable, and the Rush have had good defensemen, but as far as a veteran guy, a truly veteran guy that can maybe breed a younger defenseman and help them out to grow and learn, especially all throughout a season, would be real good for Joe Ferris and his team.
Yeah, and Denver Cutthroat fans will not have the services of Troy Schwab this year. He announced earlier this week that he is moving on. Arsenault signed with the Monarchs of the American Hockey League there, so that'll be interesting to see. I think
does that maybe make you think that he's going to sign somewhere else in the CHL?
No, I think probably what happened is they held his rights and maybe lowballed him on a contract or something like that, or the lure to Europe was just too much and he has to go.
Europe or ECHL?
Europe.
Okay.
His game is better in Europe.
I don't know. He did well in his rookie year.
He did well with Troy Schwab, Bembridge, and Gale.
Well, look at his numbers. He did well with Gale. He had like 50 points in his rookie year in the ECHL.
Yeah,
on a bad team.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, you might be right. I think he probably would take more money and play less games than over Europe. I know I would.
Yeah.
So I mean, but again, this is all speculation, so we don't know. How much points did he have? Yeah, 53 points in 67 games.
55 with Wichita.
And 55 points in 54 games in Wichita. And
he may go to the ECHL.
Who knows?
The surprise signing of the offseason for me right now is Alex Bure coming back to Wichita. Just after being out of the league for a year, signing in Allen, then not going to Allen, then coming back to Wichita, it makes you wonder if what he has left in the tank, ready to go for this season. Hopefully for Thunder fans, he has something, but that was definitely a surprise.
Yeah, he's a couple years older now, so it makes you wonder if he's still got a lot left in the tank. I mean, he's only, 28 now? 27, okay. So, I mean, it's not like he's old, but for minor league hockey, he's about middle age, if not a little over the hump. But I mean, in Wichita, we all know what kind of player Bure is and what he brings to the ice. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. It just depends on if he gets called up a lot, which I don't think he's going to this year.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to come in knowing that he's not going to get called up. So, I don't know. It's an interesting signing for sure. Because, I mean, a lot of us here have been hearing, he's going to come back this year. He's going to come back that next year. Just something like that. But, yeah, interesting signing by Mac. And I'm trying to think. Are they the only two signed right now?
No, Nikita Nashirski.
Yeah. Okay. Taylor Nelson, Lowe, and Jorgensen. I forgot about them. Sorry.
Right.
Be interesting kind of team to see what Wichita's going to put on the ice this year after last season. So.
Yeah, definitely. And, we have Rapid City loading up again for another year. Missouri's loading up. They'll be making another couple of announcements on Thursday, according to our friend Joe Rozicki, the Simbin blog up there in Missouri. Brampton hasn't announced anybody for a little while, but you got to think that Brent Hughes is taking the job that Mark DeSantis left behind and continuing to recruit those players up there. And then, of course, the Arizona Sundogs with the signing of Drew Fata on Tuesday. Huge signing for them on their blue line. Bring a rugged defenseman who can put the puck in the net. So a lot of good signings around the league. I'm really excited from the fan perspective for this upcoming season because I think that the brand of hockey is going to be better than it was last season. You have a lot of teams now knowing that 8 get into playoffs. 8 of the 9 will likely get into playoffs again. Again, that's still to be bartered with the PHPA, but 8 of the 9 will likely get into the playoffs. And it's all about how you get your team right toward the end of the season. I think the level of play in this league this year is going to be outstanding.
Yeah, the play's going to be tight. It's almost going to probably be like a playoff game almost every night for battling in the standings, especially after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Quote-unquote All-Star break halfway point.
You can argue the whole ECHL, CHL thing as far as who's more competitive or whatever. But we talked with several guys throughout when we were in Phoenix about if you put the CHL champion up against the ECHL champion, played a 7-game series, how fun would that be to watch?
That'd be great.
And I don't think that there would be a decisive league that would win. And you now knock it down to 9 teams, and I still think that skill level is there night in and night out, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch because you have, with all due respect to anybody in St. Charles, you took away the worst team in the league. And now you have what was arguably 9 teams that competed for playoff spots all the way up until maybe 2 weeks left in the season. and you're putting them out there every single night against each other. So it'll be a lot of fun to watch. New coaches, new players and new teams, and the Central Hockey League, in my opinion, just is going to keep growing and getting better.
Yeah, I agree, and lots of good things to come from the CHL this season. And if you listen to this podcast and you're questioning whether you should get to a game, get to a game. You're not going to be sorry. Lots of good action on the ice coming up this season. So with that in mind, let's take a look at, obviously, the elephant in the room, and that is a tweet put out by player agent Daryl Wolski over the last 24 hours that indicated the ECHL and CHL were in talks to merge. Now, before we get into that, I will say for the team here at Minor League Hockey Report, our job on this is not to be first on this story. It is to be correct. And if we are dead last and we are correct, I'd rather that happen every day and twice on Sunday than be first and wrong. So you're going to get the information that we vetted through our sources in the league, both in the CHL and ECHL, and know that the information that you get here is right. We've seen during the day on Wednesday tons of misinformation. I can't believe that a major sports network who has a pro hockey blog would say that the ECHL and Central Hockey League have 40 combined teams currently. Looking at you, NBC, but I'm just saying the ECHL and CHL do not have 40 combined teams. And there's also other misinformation as well. I had to cringe as a journalist when I was reading all that during the day on Wednesday.
Another one that made me laugh was one article confused the Central Hockey League with the Canadian Hockey League.
Right.
And people were like, well, why would they combine a major junior league with a minor league league? And I'm like, do you guys not have Google or have a smartphone where you could quickly check?
Yeah.
It blew my mind how bad some of these articles were written and the lack of research that went into them.
Yeah.
And the Sin Bin guy, Joe Ruzicki, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right.
Was clowning people all day. And it's probably one of the highlights of my day after a long day at work. So good on you, Joe. That was hilarious. But the lack of I don't know, common sense. Thank you.
Information
that were in these articles was mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So Wikipedia is not a good credible source.
No. How many of our high school and college English professors would have hung us from the stake if we used anything with Wikipedia in it?
Well, since my mom's an English teacher, I'd probably be the first one up there.
Yeah.
I failed junior English, so that's why I'm a writer.
It's all right, I failed calculus.
If my English teacher, seriously, let's talk about this for a second. If my English teacher knew I was a writer today, she would probably laugh in my face and say, "No, you're not," and walk out of the room. But it pained me to even see some of those article headlines, let alone what was written in them. And then the fact that NBC Sports and Pro Hockey Talk has to go back through and re-edit and delete tweets and everything else about an article that they wrote is embarrassing.
Yeah.
And whether or not you're a contributing writer, a paid writer, an editor, whatever you may be within your website, you have to make sure that your facts are correct. And like Matt said, our job is to give you breaking news. But if it's not factual or if it's not 100% true, we're not going to put it out there like it is. We may retweet something that's said. We may give a blip of something that's said, but we're not going to report it as factual and or happening unless it is.
Right.
We broke the sale of the CHL, and that was also off of a tweet from Daryl Wolski. But we went through and got statements, and we had emails out and text messages out to people confirming that and getting our facts straight before,
Yeah, that was a very long night. And
now, could this still happen?
Absolutely,
Yes.
I agree. It could. I agree. It could
Daryl Wolski be 100% correct?
Yes.
Yes, but from everything we've heard, which we could not get a solid answer back from the league, we did get some email responses back, but nothing that we can give you any facts about or any
or would feel comfortable doing.
Because at this point, no one knows. Honestly, I don't know. It may be true. I don't see it happening this year.
No.
And what Matt and I talked about today on the telephone was when Joel Lamurno sat down and talked with us about the whole transition of minor league sports hockey in the next 2 years is what kind of keys me in on the idea that it could or could not happen. What we do know and can probably say for sure is that in not this offseason, but next offseason, there's going to be major moves made within the AHL, ECHL, and CHL as far as who's where and in what league.
Right.
Because the AHL West Coast expansion is happening, and that's going to take teams and organizations away from the ECHL and put them in AHL markets. So, no, it's a possibility, yes, but we have not confirmed it. We don't have any hard evidence, even from Darryl Wolski. We emailed him, and we did get a response, nothing of which was worth replying to or putting out to you all, because he doesn't want to give facts or sources or any information other than what he put out in his tweet.
Right.
So,
Which I beg, then I have to ask the question: then why even tweet that? You know what I mean?
That was my
just to stir the pot.
That was my consternation.
So,
and yeah, I told several people within the league today in my discussions with them, and I told them that this is either the biggest troll job or it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right now, there cannot be a middle ground.
No, I agree.
This is either an incredible troll job on Mr. Wolski's part, or it's going to happen.
Yep. Now, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. And I will invite Mr. Wolski, if he wants to join us on this podcast. The three of us will sit here and do we'll do a recorded podcast with him, and we can discuss this merger. But for him to say that without providing hard evidence and giving sources and saying X, Y, and Z is going to happen, you have instigated a fire that you cannot put out.
Exactly. Only you can prevent forest fires, by the way. And
now you know.
And knowing's half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
Okay, so like you were talking about the AHL moving out to the West and have like a Western Conference, that would put like teams like Idaho, Utah, and if Las Vegas comes back, and Alaska possibly on islands out there
Right.
for the ECHL.
Right.
And if that happens, merging with the CHL or the CHL absorbing those teams, I don't know about Alaska. That's kind of a long drive/flight out there. I could see that happening next year.
Right.
Especially with the possibility, which it sounds like it's going to happen in the AHL moving out west. And in saying that, I think Oklahoma City's probably moving out there too, or the Barons.
Yeah.
So the CHL has to jump in Oklahoma City.
I have a funny feeling.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if they don't do that, obviously they're going to do it if that happens. But
Matt's got a feeling.
Yeah. It's not gas either. But my funny feeling is that the American Hockey League will have their own Western League west of the Rockies. And everything east of the Rockies will be ECHL, CHL, or some combination therein.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of funny? I don't know if you kept up with the movement, but Calgary's affiliate moved from, what was their name?
Abbotsford,
thank you. Don't you think it's funny that we're talking about Western expansion, not expansion, but Western movement for the AHL after a team in the West moved back east?
Right.
Isn't that kind of funny how that works?
Yeah.
But
they went from Abbotsford back to Colorado.
No.
Yes.
Adirondack.
Oh,
Right.
okay. The ECHL announced an affiliation with Colorado today.
Yes, you're right.
The Calgary Flames did.
Yeah, with the Colorado Eagles.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm talking about, But yeah, they moved their AHL affiliate the AHL affiliate moved to Adirondack. So I just think it's funny how they're talking about this Western expansion when a team moved from west to east. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, it will be.
Just like Joel Lamurno said, not this year, but next offseason is going to be very interesting, and you might want to keep your tabs on movement within minor league hockey.
Yeah, I think we're going to need a road atlas to find out who goes where.
No joke.
A scorecard as well find out what happens.
But I think we're all in agreement that if something happens between the CHL and ECHL, it's most likely going to be after this season.
Right. Yes. It's going to be. It's entirely too late to have. Yeah. If it happens, it's going to be in the 2015-16 season.
Yep.
I honestly believe, and I don't know how much Zach wants to divulge of our conversation this afternoon, but I honestly believe, coming off of those league meetings, that I think the CHL is in the right direction with Commissioner Ryan. I do not believe there was no error in those meetings at all about merging or what we're going to do about X or Y or anything like that. Yeah. It was just about how can we continue to grow this league, and there was not one iota of an indication that a merger could happen.
Well, and even the confidence, it wasn't necessarily hearing about a merger, rumors, or anything like that. The confidence that Steve Ryan had and all the members of the front office about the direction of the league was enough to really make you feel good about how the Central Hockey League was heading. Mm-hmm. So if a merger was to happen, I honestly believe that would be what's best for all the clubs. And that may strictly be because of geography. I mean, it really may just come down to the fact of geography and the fact that you could have teams east of the Rockies only and have a giant league of it.
Right.
So,
are you in favor of one league being east of the Rockies and the American League having their own West Coast teams or West Coast League west of the Rockies?
I don't necessarily look at it as favor between the AHL and a AA market. I look at it from the AA fan base as I think it favors everybody to have growth.
Right.
So whether that be the Central Hockey League expanding and staying the Central Hockey League or the ECHL and the CHL merging, it still creates growth and makes a bigger, better league. Mm-hmm. As far as the AHL, well, I mean, they have money from their parent clubs. I mean, that's their own deal. If it comes down to ease of access for them, whatever. But I'm not really concerned with that unless magically Wichita gets an AHL team. But
that's not happening.
I think that growth for any organization or any league is good, mm-hmm. and it's good for the fan bases. It's good for the teams. I just don't want to see the Central Hockey League in some way or another get either absorbed, merge, and then just lose all of the history.
Right.
Because the history with the Central Hockey League is very, very good. It's a great history. It's a strong history. You have two teams that are going into their 23rd year in the league.
How often does that happen in minor pro sports?
So, if you bring back Oklahoma City, that's a team that's been in the league for basically 19 of the 23 years of the league. So, history is there with the Central Hockey League. I just don't want to see that go away.
No. It would be a shame if it did because of this, because of a merger.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I think they're probably going to do what's best for the league and the teams as well.
Yeah.
Now, I was on the hockey subreddit. They were talking about this possible merger as well, mm-hmm. and they were saying that only 7 teams from the CHL would move over to the CHL if this happened, and I was kind of flabbergasted of why would it be only 7. So
yeah, wouldn't make sense to have just 7 come over and the other 2 just kind of die away.
Yeah, because I'm guessing the 2 they were talking about was possibly Arizona and Denver, just because Denver's how close they are to the Colorado Eagles.
Right.
But again, I don't see that happening. If this happens again, this is all hypothetical.
Right.
And Reddit is not the last say in everything. So, and half of them don't even know what the Central Hockey League is either.
That's true. So. But we wanted to kind of close the podcast on that note, or have that little bit of discussion so that we can at least have it on the board and unless we have some more information that is concrete from a league official that emails us and says, without a doubt, X, Y, and Z is happening, then you will not hear about it again from Minor League Hockey Report. And, or if Mr. Wolski wants to come on the podcast, we will gladly tape an interview with him and play it for you so that you have some semblance of what his thought process was in that tweet, what he's hearing from his ears on the ground, things like that. So, but until we hear it again from another league official, that's going to be the last that you hear about it from us.
Take it as rumor for right now. If you don't hear it from us with sources, or if you don't hear it from either league, leave it as it be.
Yeah, chances are if you're not hearing us at 12:30 in the morning doing a live podcast telling you that this is in fact happening, we can confirm that this is happening.
We just got out of bed. We heard some news. We need to let you know.
Probably not going to happen.
Just take it as it usually is during the silly season, as rumor. So
right. With that in mind, we will go ahead and wrap it up and say it's nice to have everybody be back with you guys again.
I missed you guys.
I missed you too, Bod. Zach is intently over there in his computer, so it was nice to be back with you guys again.
Wrapping it up. It was good to see you guys too. Hey,
yeah.
Hey.
Hey. Hi.
Saw you like 2 days ago. Hey.
No. No, I meant back in this setting.
Oh.
Again.
Hey.
It's fun.
Good seeing you.
Yeah.
See you next time. Hey, Trev.
And with that in mind, we will go ahead and wrap up the podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you again very soon. Hopefully, with the schedule coming up here in just a little while. But thanks very much for listening. Thanks for all your patronage to the site. While Zach and I were in Arizona, we'll have many more cool things for you as we kick off 2015. And with that in mind, thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you later. Have a good night.
You've been listening to the Minor League Hockey Report podcast, winners of the 2013-14 CHL Media Services Award. Visit MLHR on Twitter or Facebook.